Welcome to Bridging the Gap, Ages, Stages, and Perspectives. I'm your host, Caroline Blumberg. I'm a 34-year-old millennial born and raised in Miami.
And I'm your co-host, Wendi Blum Weiss. I'm 62 years young, part of what's coined the baby boomer. That's right, baby boomer generation. Sounds weird, but true. I'm also a mom, a wife. A GMA stands for grandmom, and lifestyle and business strategist. I truly believe we are never too old or too young. Hence, Caroline and I coming together to shine some light to that philosophy.
We're friends, colleagues, and business partners here to share our different points of view on lifestyle and business, from health and wellness to spirituality, fashion, and the arts.
Well, we have a treat for everyone today. We have live with us in the studio our special guest, Julia Langley, who has traveled the world, I think to 30 plus countries, as a singer and a performer for Cirque du Soleil and so much more. She teaches confidence and speaking. And welcome, Julia, to the house. The floor and the microphone is yours.
Thank you so much, Wendi. It's a pleasure, and Caroline, it's a pleasure to be here with you today. And this song that I have chosen that I'm going to start this off with, I love the words of this song because it talks about taking those steps that's required to face our fear and really go into something new, something unknown. But to get to the other side, we have to face the unknown. And there's always voices in our own head that are holding us back. This song is all about that and that journey through to the other side.
Get ready. Here she is, Julia Langley.
Into the unknown, into the unknown, into the unknown. I can hear you, but I won't. Some look for trouble, while others don't. There's 1,000 reasons I should go about my day and ignore the whispers which I wish would go away. Oh. You're not a voice, you're just a ringing in my ear. And if I heard you, which I don't, I'm spoken for, I fear. Every one of them I loved is here between these walls. I'm sorry, secrets are in, but I'm blocking out your calls. I've had my adventure, I don't need something new. I'm afraid of what I'm risking if I follow you into the unknown. Into the unknown. Into the unknown. What do you want? 'Cause it's been keeping me awake. Are you here to distract me? 'Cause I make a big mistake. You're someone out there who's a little bit like me, who knows deep down I'm not where I'm meant to be. Every day's a little harder. Feel your power grow. Know that there's a part of me that wants to go into the unknown. Into the unknown. Into the unknown. Are you out there? Can you show me? Do you feel me? Do you know me? Where are you going? Don't leave me alone. How do I follow you into the unknown?
my goodness, to be able to, on the spot, sing like that, Julia, that is such a wow. Thank you so much for that treat.
Yes, thank you so much. It's a great song. Can you tell us a little bit about your upbringing? What age and how old were you when you first started singing?
Yeah, how did this happen, Julia? I mean, seriously, how did this happen?
Well, I have to tell you, when I was young, I was a lot more comfortable singing than I actually was talking to people. I was shy, believe it or not. I know none of my friends believe that now, but I was really shy when I was younger. But singing was a way I could express myself. And I come from a family, a long line of musicians. Music has always been very important. My grandmothers, my great-grandmothers on both sides of my family, they all played musical instruments and they sang. My mom and my dad married. They both sang. And I started singing. I sang my first song in church, actually, for the first time at the age of 2. And that was my debut. The minister in the church said, hey, you guys got to hear this. He'd heard me singing in the house, and he just brought me up, and I stood up in front of the podium with no music and just belted out my first song. So that started it, and here we are today. Many years later, still going strong.
Okay, 2 years old, you barely have command of the language. Were your parents singing to you? Were they communicating in, like, singing at the breakfast table, that kind of thing? Is that how you grew up when you were really young?
It was real. Well, the truth be told, I just was around music all the time. Music was as important in my family as mathematics, which is very important in my family. I have a lot of engineers in my family. And believe it or not, there is a correlation between engineering and music. There's a lot of math in music, believe it or not. So you will find a lot of moonlighting musicians that their day job is actually engineering. So marry those two. Can you imagine the conversation at the dinner table when I was really young about math and music? But I was so immersed in it. And I literally grew up, on the weekends with people coming to the house surrounded around a piano. And we're all just playing music. We're singing. People bring their guitars. So it was just a jam session. And it was entertainment. It was fellowship. And like I said, a way to express yourself. And I loved it. It's just a part of me. So there's no separation really between doing it and who I am as a person. And I don't know a life without music. And I feel like I'm so blessed because I was introduced to it at an early age.
Were you ever intimidated or scared standing in front of such a large room or a small room?
Yes. I'm sitting here and my wheels are turning because I'm thinking of so many instances. Let me start by saying that I am actually more intimidated doing it in front of a small group than I am big. I'd rather sing in front of 100,000 people than I had 5 people that I know. It's much more intimate. It's you feel like all eyes are just focused right on you and there's no other distractions going on. You feel very, very vulnerable when you're standing up there. And I can think of a time when I did have a large audience that my palms were sweating and I knew that there were going to be newspapers in the audience. They're going to be writing about you. I mean, it's a real thing, you guys. When I came back to Palm Beach County and performed at the Kravitz Center, I knew that I was going to be reviewed beyond a shadow of a doubt. The same thing at the Broward Center when I performed there. And the worst thing in the world is waking up and looking in the newspaper to see them not like your performance. It's heartbreaking, and that did not happen. Let me say, but you want to talk about, I couldn't even read it. I couldn't open it up. I didn't know what it was going to say, and I couldn't read it. And my dear friend, who is an entertainer actually in Los Angeles now, called me that morning. She said, I just want you to know that the Sun Sentinel wrote a stellar review for you. And when she said that, I think I just broke down in tears because there's nothing like being judged in your hometown where you live and then getting a good review. So that was a positive experience, one that I was scared to death to go through, but made it to the other side. So just a couple of different instances there of moments where I was petrified.
Yeah, that's so interesting that no matter how long you're in your craft, you still have these insecurities because
Absolutely.
people are looking at you and you're exposing a part of yourself. Obviously, you're really passionate about singing. Do you think about it throughout the day? Do you sing when you're in your car? Like, what does it look like on a day-to-day basis?
Well, I practice when I'm in my car. It's not just singing for really joy, but it's joyful. For me, practice is joyful. So, but I use that time in the car this morning, warming up, coming here. Actually, I was like, I need to sing a little bit this morning because there's a lot of pollen in the air right now. So you want to learn, you want to actually sing through that. And there's a little tip for all you singers out there: when you have allergies, occupational hazard for a singer, make sure you do proper warm up and drink lots of water, which is what I was doing. But that's what the day looks like for me. I know I plan ahead. I know when I have something upcoming. The biggest thing, though, is that I know my body and I know I have vocal awareness, which I think is very important. Whether you're a speaker or singer or podcaster, doesn't really matter. We have to be vocally aware, know where we are physically when we have to perform. And by performance, I mean leading a sales team, a management meeting, a podcast. These are all performances that we do. So you have to know physically where you are. Are you struggling? Do you have a scratchy throat? Are you short of breath? Do you have allergies? Are you under the weather? All of these things can affect you vocally. So I just get really in tune. I do some meditation, and I really think about where I am vocally and what I need to do to overcome any challenges that might present themselves in the moment. So that's a preparation.
How is it different for you at your different stages of life compared to like your
and
20s?
We're talking about age here. You know, we're going to
of course
we're definitely talking about
I think
the
this
30s
is a great
over
question.
here.
Yeah. How were you in your 20s versus how you are now? Is there any difference, or were you?
Absolutely, there's a difference. You know, Oprah was asked one time, Oprah, the highest paid woman in the world and most successful, one would argue, asked where she was in her career, and she, on a scale of 1 to 10, and she gave a 3. A 3. Oprah Winfrey gave a 3. All right. So I think that no matter, I'm going to use that and say this, no matter where we are, no matter what age we are, there are challenges, and we have to face those challenges and really go on the journey. So for me, yeah, I'm a completely different singer. I am much more confident than I was when I was in my 20s. And at the same time, you know, I look to the future. What do I need to do as I age to protect my voice, to continue to sing on into my 60s, into my 70s? Because it can be done. And as you look at performers out there who are still performing in their 70s and 80 years old, Tony Bennett's a perfect example. And you go hear them. Bobby Vinton, there's another one. He sang Blue Velvet. I heard him in concert. It was just like the recording. These people are doing something right. And what they're doing is really taking care of themselves and looking towards the future. So that is, at this stage in my life, that's what I want to do. I want to be able to continue using my voice and stepping out in that way. In my teens and my 20s, it was definitely confidence building, learning that you are going to make mistakes and how to really think on my feet and overcome those mistakes. Learning how to prepare and just to be ready at what life throws at you. And then my 30s and 40s were spent traveling and actually doing it. And there's nothing that prepares you better than actually doing it.
I'm glad you mentioned that you're still going to be singing later,
oh, yeah.
60s, 70s, 80s, that it's never too late. I want to talk to you about setbacks. Challenges. It's a big thing. It's a real thing. I know you had a tremendous setback, more than one. Can you share with us the life-changing event that you had a few years back?
Absolutely. In 2019, and honestly, it continued for about 3 years. The setbacks just kept coming. You know, I was riding my bicycle, and my oil was being changed. I went out to get coffee, and I crossed an intersection, and I was broadsided by a giant monster of a Jeep that just ran over me and left me with 5 broken bones, a double head injury, and a spinal cord injury. And then, of course, a few months later, the nightmares started and the panic attacks. So I was diagnosed with PTSD. I mean, that, I went to rock bottom. And if that's not bad enough, as I was convalescing, we went from that into the pandemic. And Cirque du Soleil laid off 4,000 employees. As you know, entertainment, there was no entertainment during the pandemic. So we were in a tough spot. As I started to come out of that, I had high hopes for 2021, but I lost my dad in February, and 1 month later, my mom's home, my family home, was hit by an F3 tornado and destroyed with me in it. Hits just kept on coming. It'd been real easy for me to say, why me? And I think I did a couple of times. It's okay to have those moments, but it's not okay to stay in that spot. And for me, it was looking for hope, trying to find my faith again and what I was going to do going forward, because life changed for me. Physically, I've had to have 4 surgeries. I'm not in the shape I used to be in. My stamina's not as strong. There for a long time, I was worried about just walking across the stage and falling down, something simple like that, or breaking out into tears at the most inopportune moment. So it's really what we do with this. And I really looked to the future and said, I don't want to stay in this spot, and I don't care. I'm going to be strong in whatever I have to do to step out of that. So it was really a rebirth for me after that. Not just a coming back to what I was, but a rebirth to be better and to be stronger and to go into the future armed with new spirituality, new ideas, a stronger grit, knowing who I am, making strong, powerful decisions and being bold. And the sky's the limit. I've come through the other side, and I couldn't be happier at this point in my life.
We can hear it in your voice. What do you see for your future?
Well, I have really stepped into a space where I help entrepreneurs and I help speakers step into their own confidence, because I know how hard it is when you have a message to share and you want to get out there and you want to tell the world, and you have fear and you have nervousness and you're so scared of what others might say or being judged. And this is my new path. So I'm singing, I'm helping speakers and entrepreneurs, and I'm also out there sharing these stories of overcoming adversity, of writing. I was involved in the book called To Speak, Lead, and Impact. It was the #1 bestseller with Wendi, and I'm so excited that I could be part of that. So I'm finding platforms where I can share my story, hopefully that I can reach others, and they can learn from my experiences faster, not have to go through some of the hardships that I did have to go through.
Talent. A lot of people think about their talent. They think about their gifts. And the story that you just shared, that you can have those gifts and life is still going to happen to you. What is the lesson that you would like to share today to somebody who is listening and maybe doesn't know their gift, or maybe they do know their gift and they have adversity in their life? What is the key message you want to share with them?
Well, the key message is that there's a word, faith, and I'm really, really big on this. And faith is believing 100% of the time, okay? 100% effort, 100% of the time. It's real easy to believe when things are going well. It's really hard to believe when things aren't going so well, all right? But you have to hold on, because there is the other side to it. You can cross that ocean or the river or whatever it is that is the barrier in the way. You can cross that, and you are unique, all right? You have these strengths. It's just getting to the other side of what is holding you back to let that uniqueness shine. And because you may think I'm different or I'm odd, that's wonderful because we already have all of these other people in the world. We don't need any more of them. We need a you. So every day that you don't take that step forward is one more day that we don't have your message and we don't have you in the world. So do it. In the words of Nike, you just gotta do it.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay. That's inspiring, right, Caroline?
Right. You know, just
Just do it.
Just do it. Just
okay.
Don't be afraid and just, go for it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's so hard. I've been there. So I'm stand here from a place where I know how that feels to be paralyzed. But not making a decision is a decision, all right? And you're just stopping yourself. So, like, when you look down the road and you haven't made any progress and you've gotten in your own way, like, make the step and make corrections as you go, right? Just get out there and take the chance because it's well worth it.
We know you are inspiring somebody here today with that powerful message. How can they get in touch with you?
Well, they can find me on all social media platforms. I am Julia Langley, so you can find me on Facebook and LinkedIn that way, and through Instagram at Cirque Singer Jules. And feel free to direct message me. I respond directly to people who contact me all across the world. So I'm happy to talk to you more and hear what you have to say and listen, hopefully can offer some words of wisdom for you as you go forward.
What a gift to have you with us today. We are truly honored. Thank you so much, Julia Langley, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Bridging the Gap, Ages, Stages, and Perspectives. Subscribe to the podcast today on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Leave us a review and let us know what you think. Share some suggestions of what topics and guests you might want to hear on the podcast next.